Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Loving Muslim Marriage. I'm Zeba Khan.
I'm Sabah Sayed.
I'm Usman Mughni.
And we had a question. Why is discussing sex and problems with sex in the marriage taboo?
Okay.
Why?
Yeah, so we were just discussing right before the camera went on a few different theories, right?
Yes.
So, why is it taboo? We're told it's taboo. There's actually no substantial evidence for that whatsoever. I think you follow that up with not only why is it taboo, but why do we stop at just like one resource, right? So we ask one auntie or one uncle or one person, and then we take that as fact, right? And again, I think I was kind of making the comparison because it's we've convinced ourselves that it's so taboo that let's just hurry up and get that question out of the way, as opposed to I want to purchase a new vehicle, so now I'm going to ask 20 different people. I'm going to post it on Facebook. Hey guys, I'm looking about purchasing a vehicle. What do you guys think about this model? And we'll do our due diligence. But when it comes to sexuality, it's maybe it's shameful to talk about. So therefore, let me just quickly get whatever little information I can get, and then move on.
You use the word shameful. What does shameful mean? From a psychological perspective, what is shame a function of?
Shame would be rooted in, when somebody thinks that they're doing something which is inherently wrong, right? And so I feel shame because I yelled at my parents. I feel shame because I stole something. I feel shame because I cheated on an exam, right? This goes along, lines with our fitra. While haya and shamefulness is part of the religion, modesty, right? Is exactly great. Yeah, that's a huge misconception, right? Haya is translated sometimes as shame instead of modesty, right? While that's part of the religion, asking these type of questions and so on, it's been erroneously, I think, attributed to this is something which is shameful, right? So from a psychological perspective, it's really challenging the notion that this is something taboo. No, this is something completely normal to talk about. And in fact, not only is it normal to talk about, there are damaging effects of not talking about keeping it a secret, right?
From an individual perspective or from a relational perspective, or which perspectives?
All of the above.
All of the above.
All of the above, yeah.
Yeah, it's. I was having a discussion with a group of young girls, and for some reason the topic drifted off because they have a lot of questions about opposite gender, about their sexual desires. We live in a hypersexual society, so it's very natural that once they become comfortable, that's the first topic that comes up.
Right.
And when I quoted some of the text from the time of the Prophet ﷺ, some of the hadiths where he talked about the intercourse or satisfying your wife, they were shocked, and some of them asked, they're like, are you telling us that this is like from our religious?
Yeah, does our religion say this?
This is religion. Islam is talking about it. And I said yes. And so one of the girls, she asked, she's like, I can't even say then why I can't even say the word sex in my house, and my parents just freak out.
Right. And when we were talking about some of these problems in marriage, this is a product of a larger societal issue, right? How many Islamic schools, sorry to go on this tangent, how many Islamic schools do we have which have a well-researched sex ed program, how many households teach sex ed? Yeah, right? So this is just a symptom of a much larger problem. So a lot of the cases that I'm getting of women which are misinformed about their sexuality, these are young sisters which are coming from these Islamic schools and are a product of their environment. And so we really have to take a step back and say, are we really providing a true Islamic education when we're taking that important component out of the curriculum?
On one hand, we're completely stonewalling sex or anything related to sex or any issues that people could have with sex. And on the other hand, we still live in this country. We still have TV. We still have books. We still have the internet.
Right.
I don't understand how these two almost diametrically opposed philosophies on sex can coexist in one person's mind.
Right.
I don't get it.
It's the confusion.
Hence the confusion. And if you're not getting the knowledge from the Muslim community, then yes, we're going to go to other sources, and young men will go to pornography in order to tell them what a healthy sex life looks like, right?
And is that a good indicator of a healthy sex life?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Why
yeah. not? So multiple things, right? So one thing is usually when people watch pornography, they don't watch it for the foreplay. They just fast forward to the scenes which they want to. They try and replicate that in real life, but there's no fast forward button in real life.
Oh.
So there's no foreplay. There's no, 99% of it is just complete hogwash where it's just fake. But then, both men and women will start to, develop these body image issues and, think that this is how it's supposed to be. Right.
Because they don't look like the videos,
Yeah.
or because their spouse does not look like the video.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So going back to the topic of this whole the discussion of sex and sexuality becoming taboo within our community. So again, quoting the text from the time of the Prophet ﷺ and among the Sahabas and even the early scholars, the way some of the scholars would actually teach his students about female body parts and how to have intercourse, the quality intercourse, diagrams, like would even gesture it with their hands.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of evidence in our books.
Right.
And so how did it go from that point to this point where like the in Muslim families you can't even say the word sex?
Right. This is probably an issue of culture over religion.
Going back to the webinar we hosted on Muslim Matters, so there was the East, we broke it down to what came from the East and affected this whole pure Islamic teaching and contaminated with all these ideas.
Right.
And then we pulled out the European concept of women they don't even have soul.
A soul, yes.
So
Right.
they don't even have rights to anything else. The sort of endocentric idea, ideas from that culture. So both of the ideas have affected the pure Islamic teaching, where women's sexual needs and their sexual desires are fully acknowledged, recognized, and given to them.
There's a lot to be said then about the merger of fitra and straying away from the fitra and how that causes different psychological problems.